When I first laid eyes upon this next incredible tiny home, it was love at first sight, and I think you might feel the same. The fact that it's located on a 100-hectare organic farm in France just made me fall for it even more.
Hi, welcome to our little slice of paradise.
We decided to build a tiny because it was the perfect solution for us. We came back from traveling in New Zealand and we decided to take over PH's parents' farm. So we needed a place to live. PH had the know-how how to build one. We had a lot of the materials and the place to build it. So we just went for it.
So I'm a farmer. I work on the fields around here on the farm, and we just found this great spot next to the lake, and we just decided to go for it and build a tiny house and live here on the farm.
You've turned it into an organic farm now and planted a lot of trees. To look after, 100 hectares of land is quite amazing. So we built this tiny house completely ourselves. It was a DIY project. We decided to just buy a tractor trailer, which meant we had no weight limits. And then PH welded it really to the shape of the tiny house. We also decided to make it wider than a typical tiny house so that we would have more space on the inside. So one of the big things for us was to have a natural house, and because we had no weight limits, that meant we really could choose the materials that we wanted to and that would go along with our values.
The tiny house is 8 meters long, 3.5 meters wide and 4 meters high.
So we wanted the look of the house to blend in with the environment. That's why we chose the wood and the corrugated iron, because that's what a lot of the buildings around here have. We didn't want something that would seem like a sore thumb in the landscape. The wood cladding is chestnut. It's guaranteed 100 years, and we just left it natural. And then, we have the corrugated iron that we took from the farm.
Most of the materials we used were from the farm. We cut the trees a few years ago. We had to buy a machine to make the planks and to be able to use the wood as construction material. It's homegrown, as we say.
For us, we tried to have it as natural as possible, as many reclaimed materials, local, just in line with our kind of life values, I guess. I think the best thing about living in a small house is that it left us a lot of space for our garden, which we have in sort of permaculture style.
We wanted to grow most of the food we eat, and we kind of succeed to do that. We actually grow vegetables all year long, and it was very important for us to have a nice house, but also a very nice surrounding of the house. We want to have a nice place to host people and to create a good atmosphere for everybody.
For people to reconnect with nature and with them, I guess what's important. I think when we came back from New Zealand, we felt like we kind of had the key to how to be happy, which is, being close to nature, having a good community, eating well. So we tried to recreate that in our way of life.
Let's go have a look inside.
Welcome inside.
At the front door, it's a small space. Then you come into the kitchen, it's a bit bigger. And then you come in the living room and it's even taller. So you've got this impression of going into a big space, but it's quite small. And I'm quite tall, so I didn't want to feel cramped in the tiny house.
So we think the white walls make the ceiling seem higher than it is. And same with the windows all around. Everyone's always surprised by how spacious it is in here.
You feel like you're living outside and not inside.
Yeah. It was really great because we bought the windows before we had the design of the house, and then we built the house according to the windows, which saved us, I think, a lot of money. Even on the inside, we wanted to use local and reclaimed materials as much as possible, and materials that would be good quality, that would last a long time. So that really decided a lot of the style of the tiny house. That was our rule, wasn't it? That it has to be beautiful and functional at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes a bit more time to build, though.
Yes. And I really wanted a floorboard with a story. PH was always laughing at me like, you're not going to find one in Vonda because there's not a lot of floorboards. But then we found one. The floorboards are actually from an old castle. They're like 300 years old. But we were very lucky someone was selling exactly what we needed. So,
And same with the roof. The lines of chestnuts are from an old church, very old. The wood
Yeah.
was like hard as stone when we were trying to play in it.
So in the living room, the main focus is the piano. That was one of the biggest reasons why we decided to go for the tractor trailer, because we had the piano before we had the tiny house. And for me, it was essential that we had a piano. I've always played piano growing up, and it really, for me, is like a sign of coziness when you hear the piano playing. Yeah, it just creates a lot of good moments. PH welded the front of the tiny house so that the trailer itself fits the shape of the piano. And then also very important for us was the couch. We wanted 3 functions, obviously a comfy couch, also to be able to have an extra bed if we have friends coming over, and then to also have storage.
And then the little link between the living room and the kitchen is the stove, because we use it as a cooker as well. We can cook on the top. Beneath the stove, we've got a storage of wood. And it's very practical, it keeps it clean.
With the floor as well, we wanted to create different zones. So the wood is kind of cozy, and then when you move into the kitchen, we have the tiles from a local tile factory that's been there for hundreds of years. It's all local clay.
The weight was not a constraint, so the tiles are very thick clay, very heavy, so we couldn't have that in the classic tiny house. So the main thing for me in the kitchen was the height of the countertop, because I'm quite tall and I'm sick of bending over the kitchen every time. So it's very annoying for small people when they come in because they can't reach the sink.
Yeah. It's a tiny house, but it's built for tall people. We cook a lot and we grow a lot of our own vegetables. So we wanted, a large kitchen and to have a nice view when we cook. The window in the kitchen is also actually a door that we turn the other way around.
The sink as well is very big because we cook a lot, so we've got big dishes to do often. We try to use every little corner of the kitchen. So we've got a flap with the glasses in the countertop, but also all the space behind the sink. That's very useful to put like all the oils and the cutlery and stuff.
Yeah, it's very practical when you're cooking. And then we have a little flap for the compost. So when you're cooking, you can just hop. Yeah. Also, what we built in was a pantry that pulls out. We can pull it out fully when we're cooking, and we have all of our
easy
food.
access to the food.
And a lot of things in the tiny house actually are from PH's grandfather. He was really into DIY as well. In one of the handles, it's actually an old spanner that your granddad used to use. The one thing we don't have in our kitchen is a fridge. We used to have a fridge just behind us here, but we actually found we didn't use it that much because we have so much fresh produce. So we just put a fridge in our shed and got the space back. So behind us we have my office space. I'm Irish and I work remotely for an Irish company, and I also give English lessons. So it was important to have, a good workspace. And you might think there's a lot of storage on this side, but it's the wheel well that's taking up most of the space. So we just worked the furniture around the wheel well.
So behind us, we've got the hallway with the toilet and the shower.
This area here, it has much thinner insulation, and we did that to maximize the space, and also because it didn't need to be as warm as the rest of the house. And we wanted the door as well to kind of separate out the different spaces and be able to keep the heat in the main house. We wanted a halfway door. It's very practical because we have a dog, and so we can open it only halfway and the dog can stay in and we can have some air. The sunset shines through these windows here, so then we get a lovely reflection of the glass bricks on the floor. We have an invisible trapdoor with storage underneath, which is really practical to store extra food and shoes and that type of thing. So this is our shower. We decided to have the toilet and the shower separate so that, you can have both functions at the same time. We wanted sort of jungle vibes in the shower with the colours of the tiles and the plants. And yeah, the shower fits just underneath the door. PH made it out of copper pipes. So quite a luxurious and unique shower experience. Over here we have the toilet. It's a compost toilet. We have a little trapdoor on the outside and we empty it that way. I really wanted a sink in the bathroom and PH thought it wasn't necessary. So the compromise was I could have a sink in the bathroom, but he could choose what sink it was. So he chose like a drinking bowl for cows. So that's what we put in, but it looks fine. So that finishes the tour of the ground floor. Let's have a look upstairs.
So that's the bedroom. A very important thing for me was the size of the bed, because my granddad always used to say that you spend half of your life in your bed, so you need a comfy bed.
We added an extra 10 centimetres at the top of the bed, which we turned into storage boxes so that PH can put his pillow on the wood and then have an extra 10 centimetres for his feet. And the first night we slept in the tiny, you said to me, yeah, it's so good. Like, for the first time since I've been 15, I can, sleep with my feet touching the mattress. So you were very happy.
And it's very nice to wake up every morning with the view on the lake.
Mm-hmm. We have the curtains in case one of us is still downstairs or working or something. We can close all the curtains and it feels like a little cocoon.
And we also love this space next to the bed where we can stand up. Then it's easy to change without being in an enclosed space. Every step on the stairs is a storage, and it's very practical because it's kind of hidden.
Yeah, we can store all our clothes in the boxes, and we actually have loads of space.
The stairs are leading up to a small door. We call it a hobbit door because it's very tiny, and it's going up to the balcony. One more thing that Bea wanted in her dream house was...
It was a long list, but yeah. We wanted to have a little balcony so that we could, have our morning coffee, and especially in the evening as well, we see the sunset from the balcony, so we have a really nice view. We've been living in the tiny house for 2.5 years now, and we love it because, well, the setting is just amazing. We get to see nature every day, we get to follow the birds and the seasons, and we get to have kind of a slower pace of life. And yeah, even though it's small, it has everything we need. We feel like it's, the most luxurious house for us.
The tiny must have cost us 40,000 euro. That's everything included.
We could have done it for a lot less expensive, but we chose to invest in quality, I guess. We have a lot of projects that we still would like to do. We would like to finish the deck and have it wrap all the way around. Maybe a jacuzzi and a pizza oven. And our big project at the moment as well is we're getting married in October. So it's taking up a bit of time to organise. I think what building a tiny house has taught me is that you're capable of a lot more than you think you are. And I didn't know anything about building when we started. And I think everyone is capable of a lot of things. You just need time and patience and the confidence to just do it, I guess.
It's also a very special feeling to build your own house yourself. We are very happy to share our home with the tiny house community, because we had a lot of help when we were building our house on the videos we watched on YouTube. So it's nice to be able to share it back with the Living Big channel.
We thought living in a tiny house, one of the, disadvantages would be we would host less and people would come less often. But actually, people come all the time, and I think it's because they really enjoy the space, and it's such a nice view. You can look at the birds, and we actually host more often, I think, than we thought.
A lot of people think we are making compromise when we live in a tiny house because it's small, but actually the way we live is very luxurious, I think.
I just love everything about this tiny house. From the clever design to the exquisite use of reclaimed materials, PH and Bea have done the most incredible job in DIYing this home. And the farm. Life is good when you have to get rid of your fridge because you've just got too much fresh produce. That really is a dream.